àwọn àjẹntọ́ fẹ́ lé wọ́n dáadáa kí ẹ̀ mọ̀ wọ́n èmi ò kàn rí kinní iye ni mo rí iye ni. Ibadan ni.
Okay, that's much we can take from that clip because of our time and also because some of the conversations are not things that should be heard on radio. And I intentionally started with the real suspects. Okay, so I want to understand, I want you to explain to us what the process of arrest should be, or what are the processes of arrest.
Well, I want to start by condemning the conduct of Nigerian policemen who are assigned to that duty to track down the suspect or suspected kidnapper or armed robber, eventually of which a lady was caught as within his premises. Well, it's disheartening and at the same time terrifying to see a kind of that kind of video. Is traumatic as well.
It is.
Because I can imagine that that kind of lady is somebody's daughter, somebody's sister, somebody's future wife, somebody's girlfriend, and dehumanized in such a way is totally appalling. The policemen, by Section 4 of the Police Act, are to uphold the rule of law. They are to maintain peace and stability. They are to follow all due process of arrest and interrogation of suspects. But it is disheartening that despite all the trainings, despite all the acclaimed trainings, let me use that word, and despite everything in trend to make sure that at least the Nigerian police become better, it is getting worse. I would say that in arresting a suspect, there are what and what to be followed. The first is invitation if you are not caught in the heart. Naturally, in the heart, yes. Okay. You are naturally to be invited. And over times, there are some categories of offenses that you have to get an arrest warrant to at least be able to arrest such kind of person.
In Nigeria, I think what we've noticed is that you have to belong to a certain caliber before you are invited. If you're a billionaire, you are invited.
No.
If you're a common man, you're arrested. That's how it plays out.
It is.
You know, they just barge into your house and you're arrested. It doesn't matter whether it was your neighbor that went to report that, you know, you had a fight with him. Somebody just comes in and take you away. Well,
many of the arrests are very wrongful and very, very bad. And the procedure of carrying out those arrests, if reported at times, you know, there are cases of disciplinary actions against police officers who violate their ethics and code of conduct. And, you know, some of all this doesn't have to do with class. Law is not a respecter of anybody. Everybody is equal before the law. But unfortunately, in our country, reverse is the case. You see some people being treated preferentially and differently from the way others are treated. By our constitution, everybody is equal, and we are all entitled to we are all entitled to the same sense of justice and equality before the law. So nobody ordinarily ought to be given preferential system when it comes to crime or invitation to the police for purpose of investigation.
Okay, talking about the case of the main suspect here before we get to Towobola, what should be the process? You said there could be cases of invitation. There could be times where a warrant of arrest will be presented by the police officer before the arrest is made. But in the case of this man, he was alleged to be a kidnapper and a robber. So what should be the process? Does such a person need an invite?
Well, some categories of offenses are armed robbery, kidnapping, doesn't need an invite. Because most of all these people at times are categorized as highly dangerous people. Okay. And when you have offenses categorized as highly dangerous offense, that is, the people involved can attack, they can kill, they sense everybody who is against them as enemy and who ought to be killed. Then, in some circumstances as that, the law recognizes that they can be ambushed, they can be waylaid, they can be arrested in whatsoever manner. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that you use force. At times, force are only used when
the suspect is resisting arrest.
Yes, when the suspect is resisting arrest, or the suspect is violent in nature. Okay. Then automatically that calls for a measure of force for force. And when a measure of force for force is called, at times even suspects lose their life, and it's justified under the law. But in circumstances, or in the circumstance where somebody was taken or was caught, the person who is caught is still deemed to be to be innocent under the law until proven guilty by court of a competent jurisdiction. So in the circumstance, what they ought to do is take him to their station, do proper interrogation, and under the Administration of Criminal Justice Act of Nigeria and Administration of Criminal Justice Law of your state now, the process of interrogation may at times entails videoing the victim, the suspects. So in the circumstance, you take evidence from them, you treat them still in the constitutional manner of dignity of human person until otherwise proven. So if at all the man has been arrested, what they ought to do now that he was caught was to invite him over to the police station, arrest him and cuff him in this appropriate circumstance because it's considered dangerous in a way. Take him to your station, make your findings, do proper interrogation, and at the end of it all, if necessarily all cases are established against him, then you charge him to court. Okay. That is the procedure.
Let's look at that of the lady that actually called for, the outcry. From that video, it was obvious that she was not like a member of the gang. That was what was established in that video.
Obviously.
And oftentimes you find cases where, policemen will stumble into, a beer parlor or something, and everybody there is picked up. And sometimes some of these people are innocent. In such situation, what should happen to, I don't know if we're going to refer to them as accomplices or, people that are not directly involved in the crime, but that are also in that vicinity. What are they supposed to be subjected to according to the law?
Well, an accomplice is somebody who has the knowledge of a crime and who does nothing to stop it or who encourages it in a way. So in the circumstance, we can't describe that girl as an accomplice. Now, that girl is just a victim of circumstance from that video. Because according to her, I came this morning and I was only invited because somebody said he want to buy slippers from me. Although later he requested I wait and cook for him. And in the circumstance, there is no interrogation whatsoever that ask him even about the offense.
Yes.
And normally,
everything was about herself.
And normally, if you are even questioning somebody as to the offense he has committed, if you are arresting anybody as to any offense, the first onus on the police is to give you a word of caution that you are being under arrest for so, and whatever is being used against you, whatever you say shall be used against you in the court of law. They are not even to interrogate her at that level. They are to take her to their station.
Okay, I was going to.
So it is terrible.
When should interrogation start?
It is terrible. The word of caution is very, very important because we have seen situation and experience in which somebody who was caught unaware starts saying what doesn't make sense, and at times it's even advisable you wait for your lawyer before you start to say one or two things, because in the process of seeing a gun, seeing armed military men and everything, your psychological instincts may be inflamed to say things you don't want to say. So in the circumstance, even when you are at the station, You still have the choice to legal practitioner of your choice before you elect to make any confession. Not alone when you are caught, maybe as the same crime. That the fact that you are the same crime doesn't make you a criminal and doesn't make you a suspect. So in the circumstance like that lady, he was caught within the vicinity of the person who was alleged to be an armed robber or a kidnapper. And from what the detail from her mouth, ordinarily, I don't see any reason. If at all they have any issue against that lady, he ought to be dignified by being invited to their station and interrogated accordingly, naturally. So, and by section 4 of section 34 of our constitution, the lady is entitled to dignity of human person. And it was flagrantly violated. You see, that police officer is quite unfortunate that he has in a senile climb now. He should be on his way to the jail. But though
ASP Tijani Olatunji and Inspector Boyega Oyemi, I don't know which of them goes by the name Wyclef. That's his nickname. I mean, the guy that puts the video on himself saying, to him it seems like an achievement. I want to look at it from another angle. Are policemen supposed to be celebrated, or do they, or there are expectations from them when they make such arrests? I mean, from the conversation as well, it was obvious that they've been on the trail of that suspected criminal for a while.
You see, even in the process of arrest, and I know as a matter of procedure, even within the police confines, there are procedures for doing anything. There are procedures for arraignment. There are procedures for parading. There are procedures for doing anything you want to do. But for a man, that is why we are saying that they need more trainings upon training. It is even wrong for you. It's not a matter of procedure. If you are a team or head of a team of police investigation, you are not, after arrest, you are not the one who should even put it in the air.
Yeah.
You are not the one to parade. You are not the one to do some things. The only thing you report to the superior police officer at the station, who does every other things that are necessary. It's not for you, out of vainglory or cheap popularity, or to seeking cheap popularity, to put yourself in the air and be saying that this is what I've done. It is wrong, and it's procedurally wrong, and I know that it's a gross misconduct on the part of the Wyclef or the policemen involved. Okay. And every other policeman who are there, who never stopped that video, are also accomplices. They are as guilty in the second degree as the person who actually made that video and did that evil interrogation with that lady.
Okay. I must say that we still have a lot of Wyclef out there that have been cases of report of harassment on young men, on even prostitute. There are situations, we've had situations where even some of these policemen, I would call it rape, because you arrest prostitutes and take them to the station and you say, Shebi, that's what you want to do. And we've heard so many allegations like that. And thankfully, the Inspector General of Police actually came on this one. So if that policeman is going to be charged, what offense has he committed?
He has I would say that he has committed multiple offenses. Number one, he will be charged for sexual harassment, going by the interrogation with that lady, because all she did was to harass her and make her disclose her sexual life publicly. And in the process too, he was asking, if it is me now, will you agree that I date you? Not even intimidation, it's an harassment.
He's intimidated himself.
Yes. I mentioned sexual harassment the earlier time.
You mentioned
yes. Sexual harassment, cyber stalking. Okay. Then somebody who makes who caused violence. Okay. You inflicted violence on somebody. You understand? Under the Criminal Act is wrong, because in the situation where somebody in apprehensive of fear, because I saw that he slapped that lady. Yes. So, and that is a gross abuse on her rights. So he's gonna be charged for inflicting. Sorry, I'm quite distracted. Okay. We're all the same. So please, in the circumstance, I will say that it will be charged accordingly. Okay. So
I know that Oyo State's feeder is trying something. In fact, they have actually come up with their support. They've given the lady the support, the International Federation of Women Lawyers, or Oyo State chapter, and they're ready to fight for her rights. We know that it's very a traumatic experience that she's been through. We know that it's going to have a lot of psychological, effect on her, saying that the internet has a picture. But in the case of the offense that you have mentioned and all the charges, a lot of Nigerians really do not trust the process, whether we like it or not, and they know that oftentimes when it involves, the members of the force, the case might just die down suddenly. What do you think that maybe the feeder, if you're going to advise them on what to do to ensure that this is not one of the cases that are swept under the carpet?
Well, I will want to advise that in the circumstance, all many Nigerians, not just feeder alone now, should rise up to the occasion. Well, I am happy by going by the Deputy Commissioner of Police of Lagos, because I learned the man is from Lagos. Okay. And he came on expedition and on arrest expedition in Ibadan. Unfortunately, that girl was also caught in Ibadan. So now it's not even a matter of feeder alone now. It's a matter of all persons who are well-meaning for this country, who meant well for this country, to rise up to this occasion and make sure that justice is served in the circumstance. Because either we like it or not, that girl is entitled to sue the Nigerian police, is entitled to sue the man involved, is entitled to sue the entire institution for the molestation caused on her, for the infringement on her fundamental rights to dignity of human person. Because nobody should be treated in a degrading, inhuman treatment. I mean, it should be subjected to inhuman and degrading treatment. And that girl has just been subjected to inhuman and degrading treatment. And it is saddening. And at the same time, I will say that all of us should rise onto the occasion and speak, because there are still many white clef out there in the police. Obviously. They behave anyhow, they do anyhow, they don't care about the procedure or manner of operation. What they care for is their sentiment and vainglory, just to make sure the people, you can even see the man putting himself on the videos like, yes, my name is White Clef, yeah, feeling proud. It's wrong, procedurally wrong, and everything is totally wrong with that video.
Thank you
so
much
naturally,
for the program today, Mr. NATHA-ALADE. Thank you so much. And I really want to appreciate Nigerians. I mean, I love the fact that everybody spoke the same language, and this is what we need to make this country a better one. When we see what is wrong, we go straight and condemn it so that the necessary action will be taken. In the case of Towobola, yes, that was the situation. So many people, came out on social media to condemn the act of the White Clef and his team. And of course, more of that is what we want in our society. My name is Abimbola Olu. You need to know more about your right, because in the course of my conversation with someone, the person said I wouldn't say anything. I wasn't sure if I would say anything myself, because that guy looks like somebody that is going to tear you apart if you don't start confessing. But obviously, you need to know you do not have to speak when your lawyer is not available. Maybe the first thing could have been request for a lawyer, or say, oh, please take me to the appropriate place. But although on the flip side, I don't know what might happen as Nigerian police is concerned, as the Nigerian factor is concerned. My name is Abimbola Olu. Yes, do have a fantastic rest of your weekend. And yes, DJ Bright and Ibukuraji, thank you very much. It's been wonderful working with you this morning. Stay fresh.